What's up? Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, everybody. It's Tranise, your blessed and highly favored hostess. And I've got my dearest friend, Lyndee. And we're podding from the Colton Hotel in Austin. And on a lovely Friday night, a little girl's sleepover, right? What's up, Lyndee?
Hey.
Party on Wayne.
Have you decided if I'm Wayne or Garth?
It doesn't matter, right? Because like we're not guys, so it doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
All right. What's going on, bud? How's life?
I'm excited to be here, mostly because I told everybody to leave me alone.
Yeah. Girls' night,
nice.
we definitely need, like, I feel like we just don't get enough of girl time. I feel like my life is just basketball and work and masculine.
Your house is like all boys.
Yeah. A lot of masculine energy. I don't get enough girl time, so this is actually pretty cool.
I don't get enough girl time that's not my children.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think when your girls get older, there'll be a lot more like feminine kind of opportunities, excursions, events going on. Probably a lot more than you want.
I was going to say, I don't think I excel at feminine energy.
When were you born?
90?
No. But what's your birthday?
Oh,
what are
January.
January. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're Aquarius.
Yeah.
So Aquarius. Yeah. I think
I'm going to be honest. I don't remember all of the horoscope stuff, but one of my friends who's very good at it, she knew the like moon and star rising setting stuff that goes with it. Yeah, no, you need
it's your birth date, of course, and then your time and your location of birth, and you put it into like this little thing, and then it does all the calculations for you. So you would be, it'll like, your moon sign is like emotions, like how the planets guide your emotions, and then like your rising sign is like how you are perceived by others, right? Like your outer shell. And then your sun sign is like who you really, your sun and your moon sign are like who you really are. So I'm a Taurus through and through. Like I am a Taurus sun, a Taurus moon, and an Aries rising. So
I was gonna say, I think the rising one is Aries on mine, is what I've been told. Maybe that's why we connect.
Yeah, I can see that a little. I can definitely see that a little. I think you're like super chill. You're like one of the most chill Aquariuses I know.
I don't know. My energy went down so much when I got sick. Because I'm pretty intense, but I feel like that mellowed me out of necessity. You know what I mean? Because dealing with a chronic illness, you're just so tired.
Yeah.
Chris referred to me at one point as a sleepy Valkyrie. So like warrior person, super powerful, can do all this stuff, but it's just like too tired.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I can see that like definitely take its toll on you. Just like not even just like physically, just like emotionally, just dealing with all that you've had to deal with in the past year and a half.
There's a lot of logistics. I feel like sometimes I'm just tired of the logistics.
Yeah.
There's a lot to figure out and juggle, and what to eat, what to not eat, what's affecting my body this way, what's not, what's okay, what's not okay. Is it okay to sit by the pool and have a glass of wine, or is it not? It's just like a lot to figure out.
Yeah. But I think you will. I think you're adjusting to your new normal, and then from here after the adjustments are made, it'll just be like kind of like an afterthought.
I think part of it's finding the new normal. So when it kind of first all went down, I completely changed my diet, took everything out, and then it was too much, right? And so figuring out how to like, okay, I need to find some sort of happy medium and what's going to work for me and what's going to work for my body.
Yeah.
And you guys have been very helpful with that. It's been helpful to have somebody to like kind of talk to you about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, one of my girlfriends said that she had talked to you too.
Yeah.
She texted me back, and
she was fun.
she's her
She's
name's
very
Anna.
high energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anna. She's a wealth of information, because she's also, you know what I mean, has done a lot of changes to her lifestyle.
She was checking in on me for a while, making sure I was drinking enough water.
Yeah, she's awesome like that, and I just like, I wish somebody would check on me to drink enough water.
So now I'm going to just need to set an alarm on my phone and text you to remind myself and to you that we just need to drink more water.
Yeah,
Hey, are
totally.
you drinking water? That's going to be my new text.
Totally. I think that, you know what my thing is? I just don't like water.
You don't like water?
I don't, like, I drink
Wow.
it because I, like, need it to live.
Right.
But
Right.
it's not like, I would prefer, like, something flavored. You know what I mean? And it doesn't always have to do, like sugary stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like,
But if you
even...
just put some lemon in it?
Yeah,
You'd be
it
all
has
right?
to be. Plain water is it's just not my jam. But I know that I have been in recent weeks too, like, because it's been so hot. I know I have suffered from dehydration, and to the point where, like, I almost passed out in the shower.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I take really hot showers.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm talking about, like, the whole, my bathroom and my room is full of steam. That's how hot that I take my showers. And it's just like, you know, I can't do that, right? Like, I'm like standing there, I'm like, oh my God, I feel dizzy. Oh my God, I'm about to pass out. Let me get out of this shit. And I don't know, I'm stubborn, right? Like, I'm just like, oh, I'll be fine until I'm not fine. And then that's when I get my act together. So I'm a work in progress, you know, God is working on me, you know? But
I think we can relate to that.
yeah, no,
My
I'm
doctor
stubborn.
got mad at me and was like, "You're being stubborn." And I was like, "All right, well."
Yeah, it's hard to, like, change. And I've changed so much, Lyndee. Like, I'm not even gonna tell you, like, well, you know, like, I don't know when you met me, but I was like, girl, I would say during, after, yeah, pretty much COVID, like, I had just didn't give a fuck. And I was, like, working from home and just, like, not really going out as much, not doing activity. And I was just like, I know, but I also was, like, very happy too. I
Yeah.
think, well, at least I think I was.
I think I met you right before you started, like, kind of shifting some of that.
Yeah,
But to be honest, I can't remember how long we've been friends.
I know it feels I know it's been a short while, but it's,
It's such a compliment that you say that.
yeah, if it does feel like, I don't know, like, we kind of, like, went to high school together and we're just catching back up.
It does kind of feel like that. Yeah.
But yeah, just going back to the lifestyle change, like, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And it's, I don't know, I feel like we as women, we don't give ourselves enough grace, you know?
Yeah. For
We're
sure.
really, really, really hard on ourselves. And that's what I'm learning, especially that's, like, my 2025 goal not to be as hard, right, on me. You know what I mean? Not saying, not, to put myself down. Like,
Yeah.
even like stupid shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, you fucking idiot. I call myself a fucking idiot. Like, you fucking idiot. No, this is like, I'm done with that. Like, I'm done with, you know what I mean, just putting myself down and getting down on myself about just ordinary things. I stubbed my toe. Like, I'm like, you dumbass.
But how we talk to ourselves matters.
Yeah.
Like, internal narrative matters.
It's internal narratives that go on, and I'm reevaluating and reprogramming myself to just be like a little kinder and a little softer, because we all been through some shit, like everybody's going through some shit, and
everybody's got something.
Yeah. Me for certain. Like, I could, like, my 2023 and my 2024 was horrible, girl.
Yeah,
and I don't know why I wasn't like strung out on something.
Y'all mostly seem to take it in pride. Like, not pride, stride, sorry.
I'm telling you, like, it was horrendous. And I was telling, we were talking about this the other day, like, I don't know whether just me laugh, like, you can't get any worse than this. And laughing is my defense mechanism. Just laughing.
Because anytime we talked about it in those years, y'all kind of just roll, just like, it's fine. It's fine.
I do think how you grew up does make a difference. Like, I grew up, we're at the pool, y'all, so if y'all hear splashing, it's
because we're literally at the pool, drinking wine by the pool.
Wine by the pool. But yeah, no, I think it's how you grow up too. Very humble beginnings, working class, lower middle class family, working. My dad was a mechanic, my mom was a nurse, and made ends meet when they could. And I think that sort of, builds, you know what I mean, tough times, endurance, right? Fortitude and stuff like that, has helped.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, life definitely throws you some curveballs, bro.
I think one of the things that's so interesting, though, about people in general is, like, we could not, I was talking about this earlier, we could not have grown up more different. But yet I feel like life kind of brought us to a similar place.
Yeah!
Like, we both have similar, like, energy levels.
And talk about that.
Well.
Talk about, like, how you grew up.
Yeah. So, obviously, you grew up in Jersey. I grew up in a small town in Texas. So, very rural. 30 minutes to the nearest grocery store, 30 minutes to where any of my friends lived. I think there was a house maybe like a mile away from ours was like the closest house. I grew up on land. There was just lots of land, and so
that's so crazy because really I grew up in a concrete jungle. So you grew up, your parents, like, they owned, so my parents never owned a home.
Yeah, that's
your parents
too.
Yeah,
owned in a rather large home. My dad was in investment banking, and so before the market crash, they built like a 7,000 square foot home out in the country, and so I grew up in this like very large home, out in the woods, and spent the majority of my childhood kind of by myself. I had two brothers, but they were much older than me. Building forts and just kind of wandering around. Which has its plus and minuses, but it's just it's very different. And even Texas culture versus East Coast culture is way different.
Way different. So different. It's the East Coast, at least, so what I like to call like the tri-state, right? So New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. tri-state area is like so fast
Yeah.
pace, and it's like
Yeah.
people are constantly just going day to day, like, you know what I mean? Don't miss a beat. And I have, since moving down to Texas, I've had to, like, when I first moved, I had to actually walk slower. I'm serious.
No, I could see that.
I walked.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, I took a job at Visa, and I was walking with my team, my department, and we were walking to another meeting from building to building off of Research Boulevard. I can remember this. And everybody's together.
Yeah.
And I am like at least maybe a foot or two ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
And I just like, I felt stupid because it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of rude. Like everybody's just like chit-chatting.
You're just like kind of in a...
And I'm just like
Yeah.
bolting.
Yeah.
And so I actually like to acknowledge, like, slow down, girl. So
Yeah.
it's much, I would say it's not that much, right? Because Houston and Dallas is pretty, like, I would say, somewhat similar to...
Houston has much more of a city feel to it than Austin does. Austin doesn't feel like a lot of the cities I've visited or been to, you know?
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
It's changing.
Yeah. But it's still kind of like hipster, chill, you know what I mean?
Was it you that I mentioned that my friends that moved here from Louisiana, they've been here like a year or two, and they're like, I just can't do it. It's just, I just can't. They're like, it's too hipster, it's too Austin. They're like, we're going to Houston, I can't do it here.
What part of Louisiana, though? Where are they from? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's different.
He's a chef and she's a hairstylist, and they're like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. New Orleans, and I can see that. But, you know, it's yeah. No, it's different. I can't even. The food, probably.
That's definitely part of it.
Is totally different.
And, like, the food in Austin has gotten better, which is good.
Yeah.
It's definitely not New York food.
Yeah. What a difference. I would say culturally, like, we're like a melting pot, right? Like,
yeah.
All walks of life. I mean, I went to school with a girl who was from Croatia. I didn't know what the hell Croatia was, you know?
Yeah.
Being in, like, you know, some of my closest friends being from India and having Indian food, right?
Oh,
like,
wow.
we just grew up that sort of way. And it's like, where do you go in Austin to have really good Indian food? Where do you go to have, like, Ethiopian food, you know?
I do actually have an Ethiopian place I really like.
You do?
Yeah. It's
where?
It's in Pflugerville.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
What is it called?
I don't remember. I'm dead serious though. I remember where it is. Because it's next to, I'm pretty sure it's in the shopping center that also has this building shaped like a cupcake. But yes.
Ethiopian it is, y'all.
So we'll have to try it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Austin's getting more. But yeah, I mean, and that's the other part, right, about growing up, is that the area I grew up in was not diverse at all. Yeah. Very white. Extremely white.
Yeah.
And then when we started fostering children, we got a little bit of a wake-up call of like, oh shit, the world is a lot bigger than what we were taught.
Yeah,
and it just like changed everything. And I have like a lot of mixed feelings about the fact that it took that to open our eyes and to like start us on an educational journey. I wish it wouldn't have taken like such extreme measures, but like, I'd be lying if I said that's not what changed it, you know?
Well, fostering children, and you guys have traveled outside of the country. See, I think that travel, I think a lot of what the U.S., Americans in general, and I can say this because I am American. Yes, motherfuckers, I was born here. I think that travel has opened up my eyes. Going to different countries and just seeing, well, I can't really say that because I did grow up in a very, very diverse area. So I had a little bit of a leg up. But I would say that sort of ignorance that comes with just your sort of upbringing. I would say traveling is probably the anecdote. And you and Chris have traveled, like, a lot. Like, you know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah. We, me more than Chris, it took me a while to convince him to get on board with traveling. Mm-hmm. But I traveled a bit before we met, and then we've traveled some after we've been married. And I mean, I think that's part of the nature of growing up, right? Everybody, you know, grows up with this lens of, like, only thinking of self, and then you look at just your community, and then you can start to look at beyond that in the world, and it's a part of maturing, you know. And so to some extent everybody goes through that. It is definitely, like, weighted of, like, extremes. People who grew up in areas where there's a lot of cultures represented, and maybe grew up with a lot of different food, a lot of different vernacular, a lot of, like, exposure to different things, versus people who grew up with, like, a very, like, monochromatic culture, you know, it's gonna be a little different.
Yeah, and I can see that. So, talk about, like, your fostering journey.
Oh boy.
And, like, how, you know what I mean? What sort of things, like, how your eyes opened to, like, and what sort of things you learned along the way? Because I do want to do another pod with you with another girlfriend of mine.
Foster care?
She has adopted twins. And she was so at one point, I never told anybody this. At one point, my aunt wanted me to foster a child. And we won't get in that too much.
Like, you're about to spill a ton of tea. I was like, oh my goodness.
I won't spill any family tea. But she called me and she's like, Tranise, you want to foster a kid? I'm like, what? It was so random. And I thought about it, actually. I, like, seriously thought about it. And I had asked one of the basketball moms about her, like, journey. And she was, like, actually 2 basketball moms that I know. And we were just sitting, the boys were having practice. And we were sitting and we had, like, the most eye-opening conversation about their journey from fostering to adoption. Yeah. And they were keeping it all the way real. You know what I mean? And they were just talking about, like, their struggles, and they were like, you know what I mean? Yeah. This is not a walk. I was thinking naively, I was going into it like, oh, okay, this is something that I could do, and, you know, kind of like spare time thing.
Yeah, walking in the park is easy. You just, like, take care of a baby, you know, for a little bit.
I raised a son. I got this. Fine. And they were like, no, girl, this is, like, some serious stuff. So just talk about, like, your, like, journey and, like, what sort of, how has it opened your eyes, and how did you get to adopt? By the way, Lyndee has 2 very beautiful girls that she's adopted, and they're so cute. And just talk about, like, you know what I mean? That process, and what made you want to become an adoptive mother.
Yeah. I sometimes say that foster care wrecked my life, but not in a bad way. Mm-hmm. In a way of, like, it completely took everything, broke it apart, and put it back together differently. And I'm very thankful for what I've learned in the experience. I love my kids, all that. But our journey through foster care is definitely fraught we came into it like, there's this really good thing and there's these kids that need help and we're gonna help them. And like neither me or my husband are very like kid people. I never babysat really. I'm just not that person. It's like, I love kids. But I felt drawn to helping these kids, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just, you know, some people just relate more to the like the people that are a little bit on the outskirts, and maybe that's what it was. But we came in like, we are gonna help, you know? And again, like kind of what we were talking about with upbringing, just not really realizing how naive we were coming in. So like no cultural competency, no exposure to a lot of the things that these families were dealing with. And we, you know, we get this call and all of a sudden we have like a 3-day-old black baby girl, and that's our first foster placement. And I still miss her. She's awesome. Mm-hmm. But as we got through the case, and part of it, like timing wise, so like Ferguson was in the news about 6 months after she was placed with us. And so we had this baby, and all of a sudden we're exposed to this family and a completely different culture that we're unfamiliar with. And now we're seeing the news and we're like, wait a minute, but like, that's like her family.
Yeah.
Right? Like her family looked the same as the people I'm seeing on the TV, and it like shattered us. And again, I hate that this is what it took for us, and it was just, we were just so naive. We had no idea what we didn't know. And so at the same time this is happening, we're like learning that foster care is, yes, about the children, but also very much not about the children. You have these families that are in these circumstances for a reason. Like nothing happens in a vacuum, you know? And so now all of a sudden I'm developing this relationship with this mom, and I'm talking to this mom, and I am seeing what she is going through, and I'm like, shit, you know? And so then I'm developing a relationship now with her great aunt.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing her great aunt, and I'm developing a relationship with her, and she's this like caretaker of her community. She's helping everybody, right? And she's they're wanting to place this like baby with the great aunt, and trying to figure out how to advocate for people that I don't know. And also this hurdle of like, I came into this so unprepared, and like a little bit of a like, I don't know like how arrogant of us, or how, I don't know that I had like words for it, but I look back now and I'm like,
I would say
there's a misstep. Yeah, naive.
Naive, yeah.
And so we fostered her for 15 months, and then she went to move with her great aunt, and it just like, we knew it would be hard because everybody says it's hard. I don't think anything can really prepare you for the heartbreak of parenting a kid from like 3 days old to 15 months, just when they're starting to talk and say like mama and all that kind of stuff, and then taking everything they own and packing it into boxes and dropping them off, and really not knowing if you're ever going to see them again. And that's like it's such a foreign experience. Like that's not like anything else in your life. So what do you don't have anything to like know how to grapple with it. And so we really didn't have a framework for grief.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know if grief was the right word. We had no vocabulary to like express what we were feeling or how to process it. And so
definitely attachment.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, and especially because we knew that kids need attachment.
Yeah.
Right? And we're like, well, we're the adults, right? We can handle it. We know that attachment is what's best, so we will attach and parent this kid like they're our kid, right? While still recognizing and holding true that there's someone else's kid too.
Yeah.
And trying to hold both of those at the same time and with the same level of like respect. And so after she left, I was like, oh man, I'm so tired. I'm gonna like, cause you know I'm a mom, I'm like I'm gonna catch up on sleep and do all these things that I can't do when I have a kid in my home. And about 2 weeks later, realized I was like, I don't know, like I'm bored and now I have to think about my emotions. And so I opened my home back up and we got a 2-day-old baby girl, like immediately. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with grief. I don't even know what word to label this. So I'm just going to take another kid. And that like lack of grieving period, like almost ruined my marriage. I am still happily married. Everything is great.
Yeah.
But that year was like the hardest year of our life. And a large part of it was like not taking the time to really like deal with it.
Yeah.
And just moving on. And so, but now, as we are realizing that we are like massively grieving, well, now we have a 2-day-old in our house too, right? And so, and we ended up fostering her for 21 months. So she was almost 2 years old. Really cool kid, like spitfire smart. Yeah, we ended up fostering for 8 years. Learned a lot. Got exposed to a lot of different people that I wouldn't have otherwise probably interacted with. And really, our focus in it, obviously our main focus is the kids because they're in our home and we're trying to like make sure that they are like taken care of, that they have a safe space and all these things. But we really started to have a focus on these moms and like, okay, this mom is having a hard time advocating for herself. How can we advocate for her? How can we like give her the tools she needs to be able to like advocate for herself, to be able to like do this herself? Because a lot of times, like my second foster daughter's mom, by the time she was trying to like make the right choice and do the right things, she was just in such a big hole that it was so hard to get out.
Yeah.
And it's like every time she tried to deal with one issue, there was just these like compounding issues.
Oh, yeah.
So unless there was like a full support system that could have come around her, I just don't know how you get out of that.
I know that struggle all too well. And it's like you take 10 steps forward and then 10 steps back.
That's what it seems like.
No, you hit it. Like, you need a system, a support system, and it does take a village, especially if they're young moms.
Yeah.
Young moms, because you don't have the tools.
And that was, I think, one of the things that was so eye-opening of, like, just the difference between people, and now I feel like I notice it all the time, the people who have the safety net and the people that don't. The people who, like, if shit goes really sideways, they still can call mom, right? Mm-hmm. Or they have somebody, whether it's mom, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, they have people that are their safety net that, like, if things went really sideways, they'd have a roof over their head, right? They'd have groceries. And the difference between that and the people I see that don't, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's a major advantage. And even some of my friends who like are estranged from their family, but they have a friend network, right? So it's like, doesn't have to be blood, but like you have people that are like in your corner that's got you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. It does. I would say that it takes a village. So you fostered for 8 years.
Yeah, I did. I don't recommend it.
Yeah. I think
I was very young when we started too.
I think I talked to a lot of foster parents and they were like, well, but so you did that for 8 years, and then you took in your 2 girls.
Yeah, that was a bit of a plot twist. So we had actually decided to close our home, and we were going to be done, which I think you know some of this. I actually don't think I've talked to you about all of this. But, and I want to say it was that night. Chris and I were sitting on the back porch, and I was like, you know what? It was in the middle of COVID, and I was like summer 2020. I really like it just being me and you. We have a lot of fun together. We love rock climbing. We love being outside. We love doing all this stuff. We build furniture together. I'm kind of fine if we just, like, I don't need to be a parent.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not something I feel like I like have to do in my life.
Yeah.
And after fostering for as long as we had, I think it was like 7 years at that point, probably. I was like, I'm okay if we close this chapter. And so we kind of finally come to peace with that, and we got a phone call, and our agency was calling us, and they were like, hey, so I've got these twins. They're 6 weeks old. You know, this is going on. What do you guys think? And I was like, maybe we just do one more case. You know, we just do one more, and then we'll be done, and we'll just be done.
Yeah.
And I just felt really at peace with that decision, and I asked Chris what he thought. He was at peace with that decision. I was like, all right. And so, you know, some number of hours later, 4 or 5 hours later at midnight, this caseworker shows up with these 2 6-week-old baby girls. They're tiny, tiny. They were like really low weight, so they're just like itty bitty.
Mm-hmm.
And
do they give you background? Like, do they tell you about like the families?
They do, but I'm gonna tell you, it's like, it's brief, it's not always accurate, and it's incredibly biased. So a lot of the CPS caseworkers are really young and like fresh out of college. And I also think their job is a lot, and they see a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's a little tough because like I had a caseworker walk in one day with one of our baby girls, and she walks in and she's just like, bio mom did this and did this and did this and said take this effing baby and like blah blah, and like, so she's just like coming in at an 11.
Yeah.
And it's not the most generous assessment of the situation.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She's jaded.
Yeah, jaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like really no sense of like respect for the parent, which like I get it. What happened to the kids is terrible, and it's not okay, and I understand the like anger. Yeah. Like my kids have problems and are likely to have problems their whole life because of decisions that their mom and dad made, and probably decisions that I made too, right? Like we all mess up our kids. But it's just, yeah, it's not a very full story, and I would say it's not very accurate. I've definitely had, I've had caseworkers straight up tell me that a kid didn't test positive for something, and then I found out later that they did, you know, and I'm like, this would have been very helpful for us to know so that we understand what the kid's going through at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I've had, so one of my friends, she was a foster parent for many years, and she got a phone call and they said, hey, we have a baby. They said, baby, we found on the side of the road, we don't know who their parents are, can you guys take them in? Emergency placement. They showed up with a 5-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
The caseworker was like, I don't know, maybe like 9-10 months old. It's like, so.
Yeah. I heard horror stories, both sides too.
Yeah.
Both sides. It's just.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder.
No, and there's a part of me that Chris and I have both talked about, almost grappling with if we regret being a part of the system at all, because everyone talks about the system being corrupt, and that's true. Yeah. But it's corrupt to the point of like, should I not even have participated in this? Like, what did I take part in? What was I complicit in?
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's a lot. So I really don't recommend it to people now. I'm never asked to talk about foster care because I basically tell people like, maybe don't. Yeah. Which we need people, right? Because kids are getting removed, and so we do. It's not that we don't. We need safe homes, but it is like you gotta decide how you feel about being a part of a system that is going to disproportionately affect certain communities more than others, both like income-wise and race-wise, and that is like not set up to actually help women. And you kind of gotta decide how you're gonna feel about that, or how you feel about that, you know? I don't feel great about it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. My one of the basketball moms that I keep talking to you about, and I definitely think we should do a separate pod for them. Just because I think it's, people don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
And what they've struggled with. And like I was saying, just giving yourself grace. Like, I'm sure you had that negative self-talk. Like, what am I doing? But you had, just talking about like the system and the challenges that you have gotten, you had like no support, and you had like people lying to you.
The
and like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of people were saying they wanted to support us, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk, and we have a few, I'm not gonna like say we didn't. We have a few people that like really did and have been there with us through some shit, right?
Yeah.
I think about one of my friends walking in like not long after I had the girls, and the twins had some like difficulties at the beginning. So like not only are there 2 6-week-olds, but they've also got some like needs that are kind of difficult. Mm-hmm. And my friend walks in, and I'm just like sitting on the floor with my back against the couch, and I'm like barely cognizant. And she came and she started like cleaning up around my house, and I kind of laughed at it later. I was like, you maybe saw me at one of the roughest points in my life, and that like moment just like for some reason sticks in my head. It's a little isolating, because like it's hard to relate to people, and then when a kid leaves, it's like, what am I supposed to compare this to, or how am I supposed to relate? Like, it's not the same as somebody dying, but it is complicated, and it is a lot, and your friends don't really know what to say, you know? Yeah. Because they're like, well, they weren't your kid anyway, or I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's not what you want to hear.
Yeah. Well, my response a lot of times is just a little bit like, you try parenting a kid for a year and then pack them up and tell me how you feel about it.
Yeah.
You know? And like, well, you didn't birth them. And I'm like, I mean, okay, but like, we don't need to do this, you know?
Yeah. Slow and sensitive.
Yeah. But yeah, and so we really weren't planning on adopting. That wasn't our plan. Again, we were kind of just like, I don't know, gonna go live in a van down by the river.
Yeah.
And then the girls' case, I just changed. All of our other kids had a safe place to go. They had people who were like fighting for them. Whether it was like a family member, whether it was somebody who wanted to adopt them, whether it was somebody who had adopted their sibling, whatever it was, there was somebody.
Yeah.
And when it came to the twins, things just changed a little, and their mom asked if we would adopt them. And we said we would.
Yeah.
So that just changed things.
So how old were they when you made the decision, and what was that process? What was that process like? Is that
so?
Yeah.
They were a little over a year when the case closed, the initial legal case, which terminated their mom's rights. And then it was another 6 months before we adopted. They they make you, there's like a waiting period. And like a process that you go through. I won't get too much into mom just for like her own privacy, but I think that having twins is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Parenting twins is a lot.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
And I think when you don't have a support system and you've got like a couple things stacked against you, and you've got like I think that just makes it very, very difficult, especially for somebody who's very young. And she, I think, has the opportunity to still be a like active parent for a kid that she gets to raise, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's still very open to her, you know?
Yeah.
I think it was just not the right time this time.
Was she, I know you don't want to talk too much, but was she very young?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was young. And in a relationship that was not
ideal.
Great. Yeah. There's a lot of factors. There always is.
Yeah.
It's always complicated.
Always.
But it's interesting to me. So I miss all my kids. Mm-hmm. And I have flowers tattooed on my arm for each kid. I still refer to them as... Yeah. The flowers on my arm, there's one for each kid.
Oh, what? That's cute.
Yeah, they're all different. One of my kids is the little like spiky succulent because she's a little bit fiery, got a little bit of a temper. One of them is a sunflower for the teenager that we fostered, and there's a little like bud shooting off of it for her daughter because we had a teenager and her daughter with us. And so I miss them a lot and I think about them a lot. But it's interesting because I think about their moms a lot too.
Yeah.
And there's one mom in particular that I think about a lot. I wonder about her a lot. She lived with us for a few months.
Mm-hmm. The teenager? The teenage mom?
Oh. One of the baby's moms.
Oh, okay.
And she was a little bit older. So at the time she was older than I was. So I don't know how old she would be at this point. But just a bad hand, you know? And by the time she started trying to get things right, it was just very stacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, she lived with us for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then CPS kind of stepped in and she had to move out in order for us to be able to take placement of her daughter. They made her move out. But they were going to remove the daughter from her. And they wouldn't let them both stay. And so for the safety of the baby, that was rough. It was a hard decision.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. You've seen some shit.
Making up for lost time. Had a very, spent my childhood playing in the woods. And then in my 20s, I guess, decided to dive into some shit.
Damn.
Yeah. It was a weird feeling and like, so the weekend she moved in, y'all are gonna think I'm insane for this. I was insane for this. I stand behind my decision. So one, it's not like I owned anything that expensive, all right? But she needs a place to stay, so she needs to move in.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris and I had plans to go out of town for the weekend. So I just like brought her a spare key by work and was like, all right, we're gonna be gone for the weekend. Make yourself at home.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
Yeah.
And I remember when Chris and I were driving home after being gone for like 4 days and just talking with each other and be like, we are fully aware that we could show up and our house could be like gone. You know what I mean? Like ransacked,
yes.
Burnt to the ground. And it wasn't so much her as much as the people she was around.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
One of the women that hung around her, I'm pretty sure was a trafficker, a couple drug dealers, like, just, not people that you, like, necessarily want to know where you live.
Yeah.
But we had also, like, I don't know, maybe we're just idiots. We were just like, okay, we know that this is possible, a possibility. But at the time, we just, like, desperately wanted to give her a shot at
yeah.
being able to parent.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford to like pay for her to stay anywhere. So this was like all we felt like we could do is, well, we got a guest room, like
Right.
come on over.
Yeah. And what talk about like what happened when you when you came home.
It was fine. Everything was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, everything was fine. I mean, it was awkward, you know, because we had parented her daughter for a year. And then the daughter went back to live with her mom. And then 2 months later, mom and baby come back to live with us. And so it's very awkward because we're trying to not overstep. We want to like encourage her to parent, so we're trying to not parent.
Yeah.
It's very confusing for the daughter.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, CPS is like, hey, we need mom to not be here anymore because we're gonna have to like remove rights again. And so now the baby's like back with us again, you know. And so
damn,
that was a rough case. That was probably by far, well, no, the twins were probably the hardest.
Yeah.
But legal case wise, and like, that was definitely the hardest. A lot happened in that year and a half. 21 months, almost 2 years, yeah. A lot happened.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have frequent member cards to Dell Children's Hospital. You should get stars, and like when you fill it up, you should get something special.
Holy shit. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Damn. I don't even know. Like, I would say, I mean, you started this process in your 20s.
Yeah, so I actually wasn't technically, I didn't meet the age requirement for our agency. I think I want to say I was 22 when I walked into my first, like, foster care class. And then 23 when we started the process and got our first placement. Way too young. Again, I don't recommend this.
Yeah.
It's not a good plan.
Not a good path. I was going to say, so it's interesting because we were talking about just getting older and more mature and things like that. I have less patience now.
Yeah.
In my 20s, in my 30s, I was like, I don't know.
You seem pretty patient.
Yeah, but it's wearing. I don't know what it is about getting older, but it is, my patience is wore me thin. And I'm like, and like what we were talking about earlier, I want to say, like, after...
Are we about to get kicked out of the pool?
Huh?
Are we about to get kicked out of the pool?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay. We're gonna have to take this party upstairs. Part 2 coming.